for example, maybe a pre-debate where there could be certain questions and each candidate could answer them, and then people could have a vote, who would they want in the first round of debate. So like this last election, there were, I think well over 26, candidates that ran for president, according to Richard Winger, on the ballot, at least one state. And I'd rather give the 26 candidates a chance than through instant runoff voting, I suppose, let the people decide who would be in the first round of debate. So I want to open up the debates even more. I mean, I feel that the debate was still closed. There should have been more candidates there, but there's a reason why nobody else could do the debates. It was very hard to get those 4 candidates to agree to debate each other. It was easier getting Larry King as a moderator. So if we opened it up even further, the debate would not have happened. So now we're in a position, free and equal, to be able to do that, just with more recognition, I think.
Yeah, that was a huge name you pulled, which was Larry King, but now, like you said, you have your own name, and you're huge.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool feeling, and I wanted to let you know I have a 6 o'clock conference call, 35 minutes I have to hop on with all of our leaders in Arkansas.
Right.
So, I can't be on beyond 6 o'clock, so if we wanted to get started, or if we're already taping, same difference. Just want to let you know so I don't cut you short during the interview.
Oh, I appreciate it. Well, my idea was for you to use this, to get your message out. You can use it as a platform, as an outlet. There's a few people here, and they might have some questions, but you can go ahead and tell us whatever it is that you want to promote.
Sure. Well, I first of all want to say I studied you guys, and you're looks like a great crew of people there that just want to make as well something we have in common between Free and Equal, United We Stand Festival, just want to make the world a better place, coming together, for people who just don't like the current status quo, the 2-party system. So Free and Equal Elections, we're a nonprofit organization that's here not only to break the stranglehold of the current status quo, the 2-party stranglehold, whatnot, but also, we're a solution-based movement, uniting people across the spectrum to create a powerful, positive, peaceful movement to reform the electoral system throughout the United States.
Any of you guys have some questions? Okay, we have a question here.
Sure.
You have to come up here. This is from Pramli Barbosa.
Good evening. A lot of people here maybe are not so familiar with a lot of the work that you do. Could you speak a little bit about what the actual current official debate organization is that controls the debate between the Democrats and Republicans, and then could you talk a little bit about your organization and what you guys do that's different?
Sure, happy to. Regarding the debates and our organization, so I don't forget the notes going through here. But our last year was really an eye-opening experience. We hosted a presidential debate. I sat next to Larry King, and what I learned is that the current debates is controlled or run by the Commission on Presidential Debates, which is run by the former chair of the Democratic Republican Party, and at $40, $50, $60 million is funneled into the Commission on Presidential Debates by a few powerful individuals, Rothschild, Rockefeller, Chase, the list goes on, who essentially use the commission as a tool, to control the world. I mean, to put it frank, and provoke war, so on. They do the same thing for the Federal Reserve, but that's another topic. So, $40, $50, $60 million is pumped into the commission, and in return, they use that money to run ads on ABC, NBC, CBS, mainstream media, and in return, the mainstream media sponsors the debate. It's just a very unhealthy situation. So, rather than saying, hey, let's put an end to the commission, my take is let's just put them out of business by creating a truly open debate, which is what we did. And 20 million people viewed it worldwide, and it was top 10 trending on Twitter. So, that's the heart of what Free and Equal is about. Debates for sure, but actually it's a lot broader now. I've learned that it goes beyond the debates, and what Free and Equal is we're truly that solution-based movement. The whole world's waiting and looking for a solution. We all know what the problems are, whether it's the Commission on Presidential Debates, the Federal Reserve, NDAA, Patriot Act, SOPA, drones, war, drug war, GMOs. I mean, the list goes on. And I've learned, the decade that I've been, I suppose, a leader and fighting for voters' rights, I've learned that every problem stems from having the wrong people in office, Democrats and Republicans alike. And they're tied to the central banks, Wall Street, which is tied to the Federal Reserve, which is, well, private institution, as we know, created in 1913, same time as the income tax. But in any case, here at Free and Equal, we're here to fix that problem. So we're going to create a movement that will inspire people to run for office and replace D's and R's and like in 2014.
That's great. Any idea of who might be running next time around on Free and Equal elections?
Well,
I know it's kind of early.
Free and Equal is a nonprofit, so we're going to be, of course, as you know, we'll have the United We Stand Festival, which is so exciting, this June at the Verizon Arena that is in Little Rock, Arkansas, June 22nd. And what's really cool about this is that, we're bringing together honest, leaders. Jesse Ventura will be there to speak. Ralph Nader via social media. Ben Swan, what an honest reporter, media. To Amber Lyon, former CNN reporter, whistleblower. We'll have entertainment from Jordan Page to Golden State Band. They did the song Ron Paul Bonds, Tatiana Morez. It's a really cool thing. I don't know to answer your question. What we're going to do at Free and Equal is this whole movement that we're doing through United We Stand Festival. It's a kickoff for a 10-stop university bus tour we're going to have in the spring. And it's a United We Stand University bus tour. And the whole movement, the whole premises of why we're doing this is to inspire people to run for office. And to answer your question, as far as which candidates are going to run for president, I can't predict the future. Ralph Nader says some wealthy individuals. I know the Mayor Bloomberg's thinking of. There's been rumors of Jesse Ventura, Gary Johnson. Who knows? Anything's possible. But what we're doing here at Free and Equal is we're going to be listing every single candidate running for the 2014 races. They're far more important than the presidential races, those local congressional races and state and so on. So that database will list every single candidate running for office. We're going to shine a light, 100% transparency on all these candidates, where the money's coming from, who they are. Like you said, great idea on the debates. Maybe we'll have a 5 or 10 question, are you for the NDA or not? Kind of some pretty basic stuff across the spectrum. In any case, we'll shine a light on politics, money in it, super PAC, so on. And when we do that, the cockroaches will scatter. The one thing our forefathers were missing was the power of technology, social media, and, that's the key to, I believe, shifting our government back to the Constitution, bringing integrity that is within our government.
Ms. Tobin, we have another question from Pierre. He's a journalist at the Examiner.
Hi, my question was about ballot access. Now, I can tell that Free and Equal has done a great job on the presidential debate issue, but why does Free and Equal does anything about ballot access in general?
Well, great question. I've had a little bit of experience with that. Back in '98 was my first taste of a really recognizing that our electoral system, I come out of the roots of Chicago, was dishonest. My dad, Jim Tobin, a lot of libertarians will know him. He ran for governor back in '98. He runs one of the largest tax fighting organizations for 35 years. He's been fighting taxes, Taxpayers United of America. He ran for governor in '98 when I was 17 years of age, and I saw him wrongfully knocked off the ballot, and I firsthand saw a flawed judicial system. Third parties have to get 5 times as more signatures, 25,000 in Illinois versus 5,000 for D's and R's, and Dad got over 60,000. They still knocked him off. Why? Because he was a threat to the system. So a couple years later, I got him on the ballot for lieutenant governor, and then 2004, Ralph Nader gave me a call and said, hey, will you cross the spectrum, help me out? And I decided, yeah, I want more voices, more choices. I've always been an independent. I've never voted for a Democrat or Republican, never will. So then a couple years later, I got the Green Party of Illinois on the ballot, '06, and then 2008 became the national ballot access coordinator for Ralph Nader. So between my job with Ralph Nader and a petitioning company I've run, I've not only gathered probably tens of thousands of signatures myself personally, but I've coordinated and successfully gathering over 1 million signatures to get candidates across the spectrum on the ballot. So definitely a lot of experience with ballot access. Now in 2010, finally, I tried to introduce a bill in Illinois. Representative Jim Watson did that for me, and basically us saying, hey, instead of getting signatures, how about in lieu of a filing fee? Letting a candidate have an option if they have the resources, or maybe it's just cheaper to pay a flat couple $100 to get on the ballot. Trust me, it is for anybody who's gathered signatures. Got nowhere because the two-party system, they benefit from a flawed system. They benefit from ballot access barriers, so they have no incentive to get rid of them. So hence, here we are again. I've decided we've got to take free and equal to the next level, opening the debates, and now the next level of beyond debates, but putting the Federal Reserve out of business and just all the issues I previously discussed. So it's really grown a lot, and the roots of what I've learned as a young kid has really taken me very far at only 31 years of age today.
Ms. Tobin, we have another question from Josh.
Sure. Hi, Josh.
Hi there. So, very briefly, basically, I'm trying to, I want to get your take on, I know you're trying to push the third parties, independents, and libertarians. I think that's a great idea, and to a certain extent because I get tired of the same Republican-Democrat sort of thing. However, with that being said, though, let's say you do happen to get somebody in a third party, like a libertarian, such as Gary Johnson. He's elected to office. Some people would say, well, okay, or like a Ron Paul. Okay, we're going to get rid of the FBI. We're going to get rid of the CIA. Now, all of a sudden, you have a Boston bombing. You have a 9/11 attack in your hands, and they say, oh, you see, that's what happens whenever you elect a libertarian. They get rid of all these things that we had, and they roll things back, and then all of a sudden, oh, we got these horrible attacks. We get rid of the Department of Education. Now you have all these protesting, school teacher unions, and, just violence in the streets, say like Greece, or like in Italy or Spain or Portugal and Ireland. We got massive protests because you have economic collapse, which is obviously is occurring right now in the U.S. In other words, do you think that therefore if a person from another party, like a libertarian party, gets elected into office, you're not going to have, let's say, a terrible stain upon, libertarians? You say, oh, well, I'm a libertarian. Oh, yeah, I remember we voted for that guy, Ron Paul. He completely destroyed and wrecked the country with all these massive attacks and, protests and, economic collapse.
I get your question. It's actually a really interesting question. I've never been asked it that way, and I definitely want to clarify that I personally don't believe parties work. I've seen in the past decade, specifically in 2010 when I was the only female speaker, but I spoke at the National Convention for the Libertarian Party, and I saw firsthand from within that as the party becomes larger, it inevitably becomes infiltrated. I've seen it within the National Green Party too. So I went back, I carry around my little booklet called the Constitution, and I read it over and over again. There's no mention of parties. And our forefathers, John Adams, they dreaded, said parties himself he felt were the greatest, of all evil. Though they became a part of the problem, of course they did, but the thing is they were missing was the power of social media and technology. So what I do foresee is a lot of people running in 14, yes, they have to run as parties because they're forced to in many ways because of, XYZ factor, ballot access, Federal Election Campaign Act of 1974. But what I do foresee is that these like-minded individuals across the spectrum will create national recognition that the two-party system has been intentionally dividing us for centuries, and we're going to see a huge rise of independence. If you look at the Zogby polls, independents are just coming out in full force. The youth, the kids, strategically, there's a reason why we're having a 10-stop United We Stand university tour next spring. Music is the way. Dr. Ron Paul said, if you're ever going to bring about a revolutionary change, two things would have to be involved. The youth, and there would need to be music. It's the universal language. So, finally to really answer your question, I see, parties don't work. They can't be fixed from within. We saw what happened to Dr. Ron Paul in Florida. I see a rise of independence. And the national database that we'll be launching will not only list every candidate running for office, but it's also going to pull in information and build others that are a part of our movement, whether it's music, organizations, leaders, state leaders, it doesn't matter. And we're going to see people seen and elected for who they are as individuals. So if an individual decides to make a decision that may not be just, then the people may have an issue with that. But see, I do see media cleaning up as well, because people are starting to wake up and realizing mainstream media is not something they can trust. So as we start to trust, honest networks like people who listen to your show today, we're going to be less prone to that false sense of, to violence, like you said, bombing, terror, and all those sort of things. I hope I answered your question as well as I could. It's a very good question.
Okay, just a brief follow-up. I just want to slightly clarify. What I'm getting at is, let's say, I'm not even necessarily talking about a party, right? So let's say it's like a Ron Paul says, well, we need to roll government back. So potentially, if these, because there could be potentially negative effects of rolling the federal government back. People on welfare saying, hey, I have no money, have, no unemployment insurance, I can't send my kids to school. And you see, this is the sort of thing that happens whenever we whenever we have somebody who's libertarian or somebody who, wants to roll the government back or have more freedom, do you think that could be something that's would become associated with people like that? Like, would you rather just have, let's say, I don't know, if the sinking ship, like the U.S. goes down, why not just have an Obama or a Romney in office rather than something like a Ron Paul or, somebody similar, who is kind of like the face behind such a freedom movement?
Well, I don't believe that there's going to be a sinking ship here. I think there's no way it will go down. What I do foresee, and knowing a lot of powerful people affiliated with Ralph Nader himself, left-leaning to right-leaning, we're all recognizing that there's waste in our current government. And I do foresee when we shine a light through this national database, again, using the tools of social media technology, I do foresee that people will see that we do need to cut back on government, left and right alike, whether it's 20%, 40, 60, 80. I mean, some argue if we want to be back to the origins of the Constitution, up to 80%, but whatever, 40, 50, 60. As we cut back and we bring integrity within our government, then our government's going to be running more effectively and efficiently, and people aren't going to let money be wasted. And so I don't think negative effects of rolling back government, I think for the most part, as people wake up across the spectrum, they're going to recognize, if we have a more efficient government, maybe all these divisive issues, like Obamacare or full Medicare, I mean, it's just under a prosperous economy, it's just, they're not going to be really issues that are going to be so relevant anymore because people are going to be living healthier, happier lives. And might I add, after we reform the system, people ask me, what's your long-term agenda, Christina? Honestly, I just want people to be healthy and happier. And I feel like because of the pharmaceuticals industry, influence, the electoral system, there should be cures for everything, but there isn't for reasons that I'm sure most of your listeners already know. But yeah, I don't want to go too much off topic there. I don't see that as a potential problem, but I definitely, again, think it's a great question to address.
Well, Ms. Tobin, I know that you have an interview in a few minutes, and you should have a little break, I would imagine, before. I want to say thank you on behalf of all of us here, and I think you're doing a great job, and you inspire so many of us.
Oh, the feeling's mutual. I studied all of you through the Von Mises, which has done great work, and just all these different organizations that, that people need to know more about. And so, and about what your work is doing out there. Thank you guys out in, I think, Miami, Florida, right? I was researching you. Keep up the great work out there, and whatever you can do, I look forward. I know our paths will cross. ANDequal.org. That's freeandequal.org. And again, we're a nonprofit. 70-80% of our proceeds come from $5, $10, $100 donors. So that's how we make it. We get a lot done with so little money. And so thanks for your support so much, Louis. And I look forward to our paths crossing. And thank you, everyone listening out in the room there now, too. I'm humbled to have you all there.
Definitely. Here's our appreciation.
All right.
See, there's people here.
I have goosebumps. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tobin.
Too kind. Have a great night, everyone.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.